Hi, Mark Rogers here. Welcome to the neighborhood. And today, in Around the Neighborhood in Retirement, we're going to talk about baby boomers going back to work. And we're also going to bring out a Wall Street Journal piece as well that talks about Social Security coming up. So stay with us as we get moving forward. We're going to find out some good stuff along the way. Keep in tune. Here we go. Hello again, Mark Rogers here in the neighborhood. And this morning we're streaming these babies live Tuesday mornings, and there might have been old men down at the McDonald's, and they were the wise men having coffee, and they're talking about retirement. There's a lot of chatter going on, a lot of uncertainty. And then there's also the fact that ladies are down at the salon and they're asking questions about retirement as well. And so with all that going on, everybody's looking for truth. And so what is truth? And so in the program here, we're going to talk about a couple different hot topics. I'm going to also share some learnings along the way. And we like to bring guests on from time to time, but I do have my special co-host I'll be showing here in a minute. Let's bring Claudia up on deck. There you are, Claudia. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. So nice to be here again and have this wonderful conversation around the neighborhood.
Around the neighborhood. I love that. I don't, Claudia and I are 3 hours apart from each other here. And so the summertime is a beautiful time. And so I don't know about you, but I love this time of year. It's a little cooler in the morning, and it's good to get up early. I got up early this morning preparing for the program.
Yes, we sure feel that change of weather right now. We've had such high temperatures, which was very nice, but now it's nice to have the cooler mornings.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to, so we're in August, middle of August. I'm looking forward to September and even October because it's just
Yes,
absolutely beautiful. So,
absolutely.
well, Claudia, we gleaned across the news and we found a couple pieces today to share with folks. We're going to talk about baby boomers and Social Security. That's coming from the Wall Street Journal. And
Yes.
then we'll talk a little bit about another topic about going back to work. And I will kind of share some insight, I think, on what it's like going back to work for retirees. There's some research showing on that. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, that's not a very good prognosis, is it? For we to be in retirement and then have to go to work.
Right.
That's not a good place to be.
Well, but hang on here. I want to challenge everybody, and that is, hang on here. It's an interesting retirement is getting redefined. Okay,
Yes. Oh, I see.
and so I'm going to illustrate that in a little bit about how retirement is getting redefined, and so it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we're finding out of necessity, people are having to work a little bit, but we're going to talk about why it might be a good thing. So
All right.
that's a little
I'm
bit what's
I'm
going on.
looking forward to that.
Well, I hope you're with me here for years to come because we need to keep cranking and helping people along the way because I know you're knocking on those doors and I want you to be
Yes.
around for a little bit longer on this.
That's right. Yes. Yes, we will be. We'll be
All
here.
righty. Well, good enough. Let me share my screen here and we're going to go ahead and hit up our first. This is directly from the Wall Street Journal, and we'll take a look. It's about a 6-minute video. I think it's very helpful.
Oh, okay.
Security, that made Social Security look very healthy.
But as boomers started exiting the workforce in 2008, the number of retirees grew rapidly.
Not only do you have more retirees collecting benefits for more years, you have fewer young people entering the workforce because birth rates were lower for their parents' generation. And that creates a squeeze on both directions. Higher expenses from all those retirees living longer, lower payroll
Can you hear that all right, Claudia?
Yes.
Okay.
tax revenue from fewer people entering the labor force because of those declining birth rates.
This puts a lot of pressure on Social Security, and without policy change, projections show the trust funds will be depleted in 2034.
There's a misconception out there that when the Social Security Trust Fund is exhausted, this is somehow bankrupt and there's no money. Social Security is an integral part of the federal government. And as long as the federal government is not bankrupt, Social Security is not bankrupt.
What's really happening is the program is running out of treasury bonds, which are basically IOUs from the government. For many years, Social Security was taking in more money than it needed to pay out in benefits, so it lent money to the government to use for other programs, and it got IOUs in return.
Around 10 years ago, though, that situation flipped around. For the last decade, we've been paying out more in benefits than we've been collecting in Social Security revenue.
But because the program had so many IOUs stashed away from previous years, it's been able to keep paying benefits in full by cashing in on those IOUs.
Right now, there's roughly $3 trillion in IOUs. But each year, that $3 trillion stash gets a little bit smaller. By the year 2034, all of the IOUs will have been cashed in.
That means retirees would see overnight about a 25% benefit cut.
This number will likely increase as the number of workers per retiree continues to fall.
Simply because we're not about to go bankrupt doesn't mean there's no problem. There very much is a problem.
Studies show that the majority of Americans rely on these monthly benefits checks for retirement income. According to Census Bureau data, about 50% of people between 55 and 66 years old have no retirement savings.
Can you imagine right now if you had to take a 25% reduction in your take-home pay? You still have to pay rent, you got to buy groceries, you got to pay utilities.
It's especially important for those who don't have college degrees, people on the lower end of the income spectrum.
Fichtner says when retirees have less retirement income, they also generally spend less money.
That means less economic activity. That means less employment because employers have to lay off people because no longer is that money coming in. It's a ripple effect that could be basically a senior-induced recession.
But Social Security is only meant to replace a percentage of a worker's pre-retirement income based on lifetime earnings. So as much as 78% for very low earners to about 42% for medium earners and 28% for maximum earners.
There's this three-legged stool we talk about all the time. It's supposed to be Social Security is one leg, your employer-provided pension is the second leg, and your personal savings the third. Well, Social Security has financial challenges. We don't have pensions really anymore. About 10% of the population has pensions. And then it's hard to save on your own when you've got to pay off student loans and housing costs are so high.
About half of Americans do have retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs, but those are all subject to market risk.
I hear a lot, well, those are 65-year-olds. Why do I have to worry about the boomers today? Well, this impacts every generation that's coming up behind.
They might be asked to pay a slightly higher payroll tax. More important, they might be asked to work a little bit longer.
And like most things in the economy, Social Security's funding shortfall isn't an isolated issue.
It's one of the reasons the federal budget deficit is as large as it is. It means that we have to borrow money, which means issuing bonds. That tends to put up pressure on interest rates, which means it's harder to afford a house. It means that Congress might have to cut spending on other programs like the military or the environment in order to make sure there's enough money for Social Security.
So what needs to happen to put Social Security on more sound footing? Congress needs to pass a law.
Congress has stood still and not enhanced Social Security since Richard Nixon.
When and what kind of law, that we still don't know. There's been a number of proposed solutions over the years.
This legislation demands that the wealthiest people in this country start paying their fair share of taxes.
But policymakers generally disagree on whether to raise taxes or cut benefits.
You'll have two approaches to how to solve this problem, and you're not going to do it.
There's probably no single magic bullet which will put Social Security on a long-term footing. Instead, Congress is probably going to have to look at a variety of steps which will collectively fix the problem.
But economists don't expect action to be taken anytime soon.
Everybody, including on Capitol Hill, knows that Social Security has a problem. Nobody, especially those on Capitol Hill, are prepared to do anything about it.
As we all apparently agree, Social Security and Medicare is off the books now, right? They're not to be started.
We all would wish that politicians would show the political courage necessary to tackle this now and not wait until the 11th hour. Benefits and changes to retirement programs take a while to phase in. One of the last major reforms we had for Social Security were the 1983 reforms.
Those amendments raised the retirement age to 67, but it took nearly 40 years to phase them in.
There is a 10-year window, but we don't have 10 years to act.
There has to be some kind of a legislative solution that comes along between now and then. By law, the program can't borrow anywhere else. The program is too important, too popular for it to basically be allowed to run out of money.
Well,
as
there we
much
go.
as
It's
$10 million.
very interesting to
That's
learn
how
about
much
these
Wells
things if
Fargo
you're
is
faced in
losing every
retirement,
month
because
thanks to this credit
this is
card.
going to be a big thing as you move forward in terms of what Social Security is doing for you, etc. Let me go ahead and bring Claudia back up to the stage there.
Yep.
What did you think of that, Claudia?
Very interesting, that's for sure. Yes. So financially, um, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Do you?
Well, it's. I'll talk about it here in a second. Here, I'm going to bring up another topic because these two topics are going to tie in. This one was talking about, Social Security trust fund, right, being
Yeah.
questionable. Well, it's not
Yes.
questionable. They know when it's going to run out, and so retirees that are retiring right now should get a hold of this and be planning effectively for this, because we know we've been given the date of where the trust fund is going to deplete itself, and we don't believe it's going away. There's going to be some severe changes that happen. Either income taxes going up, well, they will be going up. I can share data with that, or a reduction in Social Security later down the road as well. These are what we're talking about here. So it's important to plan ahead, specifically if you're in your early 60s, mid 60s, to plan ahead. And I'm going to share an idea here in a little bit after I go over the next data point here as well. Because when you're in your mid 60s, you really have to look at a lot of different parameters here to get a hold of these things. And yet many people are planning inside of a silo effect. So that's a little bit about what we need to do, is take all these variables and plan these variables together. So that is that. So let's go ahead and throw in the next news piece. Let me get this teed up here in a second here. I'm going to share another piece that I just came across this morning here, and we have some cool stuff going on here. So how about that, Claudia? A little
That's great.
news bumper.
A little news bumper, yes.
All right, so let's see how this piece ties into it here. Over 1/5 Americans over 65 are still working. So 20% of people are still working. And frankly, I would say maybe more should be working, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. But let's go over the piece, the article for a little bit here. More than a fifth of American seniors are working in retirement age, with some states showing greater than average rates of over 65 still in the workforce, according to recent analysis of federal data by LendingTree. And the participation of older adults in the workforce has seen a slight decline over the past 2 years. Okay. So they're really seeing this as a little bit of a drop. The dip between 2022 and 2024 could be related to employment trends during and after COVID-19 pandemic, says Matt Schultz of LendingTree. Many older adults departed the workforce in what was coined the Great Retirement. And listen to this, joined it in when they called the Great Unretirement.
Oh my goodness.
So there's, retirees that left, and then there's retirees that came back, the Great Unretirement.
Yes.
All right. While it shows a near-term decline in senior employment, the latest snapshot data point on older Americans is more than double the rate in 1987. 11% of retirement age adults were employed based on data from Pew Research. So this is something where 20% of people are basically being employed, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so let me describe. You know me, I like my whiteboard, right?
Yes.
Let me bring up a whiteboard to share something here. Present. You know what? Apparently I can't do that. So let me talk it through. Basically, what people, when you're 65, you have a choice of whether you're taking Social Security along the way or not. And when you push 65 up to 70, you're getting an 8% increase every single year.
Yes.
All right. So what the issue is people start tapping their retirement funds right out of the gate instead of letting those cook up.
I see.
And so by letting those retirement funds cook up and turning on at 70 or 72 or something like that, people are living longer than before. So what I found, Claudia, particularly, is people are living in the here and the now. And by living in the here and the now, I believe there's a little bit of eating into their retirement savings ahead of time, so that when they're 80 years old or 83 or 85 years old, because they ate too fast in their retirement funds, they're running out of money in their 80s.
So can we clarify here a little bit? When you're talking about retirement funds, exactly what are we saying?
So we're
Versus Social Security, is that what you're saying?
right,
There are
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got your retirement funds
Mhm.
that are sitting near your 401k, IRAs,
Yep.
403bs.
Yeah.
If you've done savings into those, or maybe you put up other savings along the way
Yes.
that you've done along the way as well. Okay.
Yes.
And so Social Security is an income source.
Yeah.
And your retirement funds are an asset.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yep.
challenge that every retiree has to make is, can we turn that asset into income?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay.
That's a very good point.
That is the science, is how do you turn an asset into income?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the happiest people that I have seen along the way are those that have large pensions. So the government pensions and things like that, the pension stuff, or people that have large real estate holdings. They're getting their rental income coming in as well. Income at the end of the day, all the way until age 80 and 90 years old, that pays for the groceries.
All right.
Assets
Very good.
doesn't pay for groceries.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example.
Mhm.
There are 85-year-old widows living in a house, paid off house. All right.
Yep.
They're having to skimp and to scringe along the way.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough income.
Mm.
They're sitting on a house that's maybe worth 500, 300,000, 500,000, 800, maybe 800,000, depending on where they are. They're sitting on an asset, but they can't turn it into income, and there's their problem.
Yes.
Isn't that interesting? So
Yes, I know that you would probably have a suggestion for that.
well, and so
How to
before,
turn something
yeah,
like that into liquid.
right. So before we do that, though, let's talk about the working piece of data we just talked about.
Yes.
The working people, and so what people retirement is, and to your earlier point earlier, is you said, well, people, that's a shame that, or some people going back to work. Well, retirement is getting redefined. What that means is people may quit the job that they've done for 30 years,
Yeah.
but they're going to find work on something they really enjoy.
Yes, that's very good. Well put. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so but they may be taking a pay cut. They're not necessarily making 100% of what they're making before, but they're taking a pay cut. And, if Social Security is paying them $30,000 a year or something like that,
Yeah.
maybe they're adding another $30,000 or $40,000 a year in income.
Yes.
Okay. And by doing that, they can then delay taking income from their retirement savings,
Yes. Yes.
therefore allowing it to grow and grow and grow
Yes.
along the way. And maybe they enjoy their work. It's part-time. They're doing what they love. Maybe they do that for another 3 or 4 years. I mean, I had an agent that worked with me, and he was doing strictly Medicare stuff. He had strong retirement income, but he was enjoying working as well.
Yes.
I'll
And
never
you're
forget
staying
it.
active and
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, you know
That's a
how
big
active
part
this
of it.
this game is, right? we're
Yes.
hopping all
Yes.
over the place.
Yes.
So the point is that people can work and enjoy stuff, enjoy what they're doing, but it also has an added benefit of delaying taking their retirement savings, therefore turning on income from the retirement savings later. Now, you asked the question, what would you recommend? Well, frankly, pension income is the best.
Mhm.
Okay, pension. When someone has a pension, they get money every single month, regardless if the market goes up or the market goes down. They always have money coming in next month.
Yes.
Well, but someone says, "Well, Mark, I don't have I don't have I don't have that kind of I don't have a government pension." All right. So if you don't have a government pension, you can make your own pension. And so what insurance companies are doing is insurance companies have offered these for 40, 50, 60 years. Because they've been in the insurance business, they're doing math and science, they're doing all that actuarial science behind the scenes. And so what they're doing is they're turning on income from an asset guaranteed all the way down to age 120. Okay? And so that's something that people don't understand is they don't understand the ability of having both or having that ability to have a pension. And number two is they can actually create their own private pension along the way, utilizing some kind of income annuity that is guaranteeing income to them every single month.
I think a lot of people are in that category where they would have to create their own pension. And I really like that idea because there is an option and there is a way to create more income for you in retirement by creating your own pension.
No, you're absolutely right about that, and I enjoy helping people get those pensions along the way because it's important to have income every single month. Now, here's the question for people to ask themselves: how much income can I get from my asset? Okay, so take a standard number. If you have a $500,000 asset, retirement savings, what percentage of that can I take out every month and never run out of money?
Yes.
Okay. Well, some people for years have talked about the 4% rule. Well, now we've found out the PhDs and such have found out that's not so accurate. And so people are going to run out of money. And so we're looking at 2.5%, maybe 3% on the top end. But the key thing is, Claudia, is insurance companies are offering 5% distribution rates. Older, they're offering 6% distribution rates. Right now, we've had some very high distribution rates because the economy has been very good in the federal interest market. And so the insurance companies have raised these distribution rates and offering a lot of money, a lot of income from the asset. And so that's why it's the good times are coming to an end right now in the insurance world because, we're starting to see those federal interest rates start to tailor back, and therefore the hot stuff that's been offered is starting to slow down a little bit. But if anybody's interested in that, we can talk more about that.
Excellent. Very
So
good.
with that, before we jump off the show, we do have some offers here to share with somebody. Oh, I know what we want to do too, Claudia. We wanted to talk about, you know what, I'm gonna have to save it for next time. My whiteboard is down. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a whiteboard going today, so I'm kind of ad hoc in this. But go ahead, Claudia.
Yeah, so maybe we can offer some pointers about what would you do to plan ahead for this portion, for people who are not in retirement yet? What can be done so that they don't have to go into retirement and then have to go back to work? So perhaps there are maybe 3 points that we can mention.
Good. I appreciate that.
To plan ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk about 3 points to plan ahead. I'm going to put the very top of the list. Know your monthly expenses.
Oh, okay.
Know your monthly. What makes life go round? Okay. And it's not a budget. It's just what makes life go round. I got my groceries, got my utilities, got my insurance. I want to take a vacation or two a year. I want to give gifts to the grandkids, etc. What makes the life go round? And so that is what you want to be able to define. I've got a 2-page form that I do with people. And then here's the next thing. Of course, knowing where your assets are and knowing what bucket your assets are. And there's 3 buckets your assets are going to be in. Your tax qualified bucket. I would, if I had my whiteboard, I'd stream this out. Red, that's your tax qualified. It's your IRAs, 401ks. And then you get your non-qualified bucket, and then you get your tax-free bucket. So we look at where money is sitting exactly in relation to what the IRS is going to take. Okay. And then thirdly, what I'm looking at here, Claudia, as I build this into an income plan is what kinds of risks do we face? Are we facing the cost of living going up? And where do we run out of money if cost of living going up? Or does a big healthcare expense come into play? Does that drain our retirement savings? Therefore, we don't have any income. Okay.
Yeah.
What if a spouse passes away? Okay. What if a spouse passes away? And so if a spouse passes away, what kind of impact does it mean for their surviving spouse? Okay.
Yes.
So these are very, very key things to look at. And all that comes together in a retirement report I put together in literally 20 minutes with somebody. And I have it up on the screen here. If people want to get 20 minutes with me anytime, happy to chat about that. And I can put together something pretty quick. Go over to markscalendar.com. And in doing so, that's 20 minutes on my calendar. You're looking at the next couple, 3 days, a time slot. We talk about how to build a retirement type of income plan. Okay.
Yes.
Now, one of the things, Claudia, and I have it up on the screen now, is this thing about a retirement score, which kind of plays into this.
Yeah.
As you know, we've been working on a new software that says, okay, what is somebody's retirement score right now? Okay. Is it 41%? What's the certainty of me getting to my goals in my 90s, right? A lot of people are real surprised when they find out that, when we throw in all the data and we run it against market conditions, it's called a Monte Carlo simulation of 1,000 different scenarios of how the markets may go. We assume income taxes are going to be the same, which they're not, but we're going to assume that. And we put some cost of living in there. What kind of possibility do we have to achieve our goals? And people are pretty, they're pretty sad in light of what they're seeing. But the good news is, then the question is, what kind of little changes that don't cost anything? What kind of methods can we go to make that a 92 or maybe a 99%, right? It's amazing how simple it is to be able to make an adjustment and get the retirement score to jump up in terms of the certainty and the possibility of how our dreams are going to happen. So in working years, we look at our credit score. In retirement, we look at our retirement score. So
I like that a lot. I like this because it helps to identify where am I and where can I go with my retirement plan. How can I improve it? How can I make it better? So that takes, of course, meeting with you to get that score. But I think it's so important, and to know exactly where you're at. So that way, if any adjustments need to be made, they can be made in time.
Yep, that's exactly right, Claudia. That's a good point about making it in time, because I like the phrase. The phrase is, your younger self is the only one that's going to take care of your older self.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
And so this is why we're sharing information across the fences in the neighborhood and down at the McDonald's is know what you need to know right now, so there's no regrets later down in retirement in your 80s, right? Because there's nothing worse, as you know, Claudia, is talking to people that have regrets as to what they should have, would have done, but they didn't know about, right?
That's right.
So let me share one other thing here too. I'm going to share another thing that is important, and that is another opportunity that we have is if you have a question on your insurance policy, maybe you have an older life insurance policy and you're going into retirement, you go, you know what? I don't know. Do I need my life insurance? maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what someone's goals are. Maybe it's got cash in there. And some people, Claudia, what they end up doing, they just end up cashing it out. It's like, ooh, did we understand the implications of cashing this out? Or is there something better that we can do?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, there are some new options that are out there that utilize somebody's cash that they have in their policy and allows someone to get money for their policy in other ways they had no idea.
Yes, I like that. It takes a connoisseur.
It does.
I want to say it takes a connoisseur of financial strategies to be able to do that. And you definitely have done that for other clients, and they have benefited immensely.
Yeah, because people go, I didn't know, Mark, that is possible.
Right.
Right? You know? The next one is older annuity policies. If you had your annuity for 5 years or longer, and there's a ton of annuities out there that have been out there for 5 years or longer, they're just like, people don't need them, whatever. Do you understand that there are some new things that you can do with these annuities, that annuity money, and not be taxed, by the way, because there's something called a 1035 provision. And that is an interesting idea, these older annuities that are just stagnant out there. And yet there's some ways to make that money work even better for you.
Yes.
Okay. And so now we go to where are we going here? We're going back to the third. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No.
Third question.
Yeah.
Your long-term care policy, and Claudia, you know this. We're getting people in our own client base that are, faced with rate increases on their long-term care policy, and for years, I have been able to help people with that, right? And so it's something that, again, people don't know what their current long-term care policy is. They're getting this notice in the mail. And so it is a way to be able to grab a hold of information to make better decisions off of more information.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are a specialist in that area, and you're able to quickly help people and see where they're at and what they could do and so on. And you always offer great options to them.
Yeah, it's certified long-term care specialist, and so I've seen everything, a lot of things, and so I've seen a lot of the old policies and seen all the new policies. And by the way, I want to switch gears. If someone's looking at a long-term care policy, recognize the fact that there are a lot of new stuff that are very, very appealing today for people that want to protect their savings and they want to protect their family as well during those times as well. And frankly, it does far more than their current savings. And Mark, I've got plenty of money. Yeah, you've got plenty of money. Yes, you can take care of it. How about you get a deal on long-term care, though? How about you buy it on sale?
Wow, that's great.
Because Claudia, you know what? You're always looking for a deal. You go out shopping, and it's just like, oh, this has been marked down 20%. Yay! Oh, wait a minute, I get to the cashier, and all of a sudden it's marked down 60%.
Yes.
Right? People like deals.
Yes. But in this case, you could have perhaps better benefits for the same amount of money you were paying already, just by making some switches, some adjustments.
And recently, as you know, I've been talking to people. There's some stuff triples your money. So if I already got some savings to set aside for long-term care, I'm showing how you can actually do 300% on that for long-term care. It's a powerful tool. There's some new stuff that's out there, and so this is why we like to chat.
Yeah, we were working on that client with that this week.
Right. Yeah. And it's been very interesting to work through a couple cases with people that already have money.
Yeah.
And saying and just sharing the fact that, are you doing the most that your money can do for a long-term care event and not cost you anything, right?
Yes.
And frankly, save your savings. So so it's interesting to see all the new stuff. But if people do have, again, any kind of question on their life insurance policy, or their maybe the long-term care policy, or their even Medicare. Medicare's coming up, Claudia, and we're going to have special guests on with regards to Medicare.
Yes.
Our annuity policy. They can always get a hold of me directly, frankly, over here on the calendar, and that's the easiest thing to do. Go to markscalendar.com, and you can get up to date information with me personally. Everybody is personal. Everybody's personalized, Claudia. That's what I like about it, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you are you're very much interested in helping people personally and face to face.
Everybody is different.
Yes.
Everybody
Yeah.
is different. So anyway, I think that's about a wrap for today. It's always fun to go ahead and it's fun talking with people. So if anybody's got anything to share, let me know. And I'm always here to grab 20 minutes on my calendar, markscalendar.com. And so with that, I will go ahead. We're going to go ahead and drop out, and we'll see everybody on the next Tuesday. Like, subscribe, and share if you can, because we're trying to get this out to everybody along the way. I had a special unit here somewhere, but I'm still working on all my system. Oh, here we go. How about this, Claudia? Like, subscribe, and
I
share.
like
Right? Like, subscribe, and share. So
Very
that's what
good.
people can
Yes.
do. That. Like, subscribe, and share. We did now. The good news is we're over on Facebook today.
Yes.
Was our first day. We got 100 subscribers over on Facebook,
Yep.
and so I'm ecstatic to be over on Facebook streaming today. Like, subscribe, and share. And so with that, we're going to go and head out. We'll see you all next week with more topics, and we're going to run the whiteboard next time.
Yes, we are. That's your preferred form of communication, the whiteboard. Get it out.
I'm missing it. I
Yes.
just didn't have it quite teed up today. So
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
all right. Well, good enough, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
Well,
That music is really nice.